Animal Farm 1.10. Obey propaganda, a la Shmoop. If you want to get people on your side, you need two things. You need to put a message out there, and you need to control where it goes. Well, having a cool mustache doesn't hurt either. Stalin did this with the Russian newspaper Pravda, and with posters and messages spread throughout the country. Corporations do it with ad agencies and PR firms. Napoleon did it with Squealer. All of this is propaganda. Propaganda is communication of any kind that appeals to emotions to spread a desired message. For instance, all animals are equal was a message approved by the pigs until it wasn't. All right, well, no problem. Just rewrite it and resell it to the masses. They might question it at first, but eventually they'll forget about rule changes and, that first version, especially when they see what happens to their comrades for doubting their self-appointed leader. Okay, so Propaganda 101. Some methods include bully your enemies. If you don't like their message, attack them personally and make the public believe they're awful. Napoleon Stalin did this to Snowball Trotsky with great success. All right, next up, choose your words carefully. Napoleon doesn't reduce rations, he adjusts them. Stalin's last name was Juzgavili until he changed it to Stalin, which means man of steel. Yeah, super. Okay, next up, get famous people to represent your product. Hey, well, how many cover girls does CoverGirl have again? Stalin depicted himself as a baby-hugging demigod. He made himself famous. Napoleon didn't hug babies, but, he did take puppies home. Okay, next up. Shout it out. Type your message in big, bold letters, like that. If you absolutely must include some facts, put them in really tiny fine print buried in a footnote. Or better yet, just make the whole thing up and say you have supporting documents, even though you don't. This worked for Napoleon when he said he found documents that proved Snowball was a traitor. Since the animals couldn't read, why bother showing them the documents? Stalin always included bold headlines and excluded inconvenient truths. Okay, next up, endorsements from the common folk. Well, the sheep do it when they casually mention within Whimper's earshot the great amount of food the animals have. Stalin did it with his adoring supporters who believed the propaganda and talked of him as divine. All right, next up. Put a bandwagon out there and people, or animals, won't be able to resist jumping on it. In Animal Farm, it worked on most of the animals except Molly, Benjamin, Moses, and the cat. Well, in Russia, it worked on everyone who didn't want to die or be sent to the Gulag. Yeah, the Gulag, fun camps where Stalin's enemies were sent to be slave laborers in 30 below weather. Okay, next up, create a false dichotomy, as in, you're either with us or you're against us. Well, Napoleon makes sure the animals don't have any trouble deciding between himself and Snowball. Stalin purged everybody he even thought might be against him. All right, next, get all emotional. While you're using words and pictures to get your well-formed message out, you can throw in some good old-fashioned fear to keep the crowd in line. Napoleon reigns with terror, killing the subversives violently and grotesquely, as did Stalin. And there's always that fear of Jones coming back if the animals don't follow Napoleon's orders. Add a little hatred of the enemy, Snowball and Trotsky, and a little guilt, how dare those hens protest, and you've got a killer appeal to the masses. All right, next up, repeat after me endlessly. Beasts of England, beasts of England, beasts of England was propaganda repeated daily. So was 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Yeah, repeated annoyingly. Stalin had himself glorified on posters, in the newspaper, in statues, and in speeches. He was all over the place. Heck, if he were alive today, he'd have his own action figure. Well, we think Squealer deserves a round of applause. He was the equivalent of the whole Russian propaganda machine all by himself, a one-pig army of misinformation. From the pigs' special food and housing to vilifying Snowball, from the betrayal of Boxer to rewriting history and the 7 Commandments, Squealer was so convincing that the animals came to believe they remembered things just the way he described them. Some pig.